You always hear me tell you that exactly who you were made to be is exactly who somebody else needs to see, and that you are 99% a human, 1% amazing, and just live in your amazing and do what's best for students. You always hear me tell you things like that. But recently somebody asked me a question that was actually really good, and they said, what if I believe you and I have that confidence that I need to be my 100% authentic true self, but my administrators are not letting me? And I was like, that's a good question. So I'm gonna answer that in this video here today. Stick around to the end to figure it out. Hope you don't mind if I read notes, because I really don't feel like doing a lot of editing. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to be able to identify what your zone of excellence is. You always hear me say that. Your zone of excellence, I like to describe it as the things that are natural to you but are amazing to everybody else. The things that just come easily to you, the things that, yeah, of course you have to work on it sometimes, but it's the things that other people ask you for advice about. It's the things that you just do, like you just have it. That's your zone of excellence. And being able to operate in your zone of excellence is what's going to help you make a huge difference in students' lives. Because the things that make you different, the things that make you unique, remember, your differences are not your deficiencies. It's your differences that are going to allow you to make a difference in somebody else's life. So let your differences live so that you can make a difference in somebody else's life. So first you have to identify what is in your zone of excellence. Then identify what it is that you're being asked to do that's impacting that zone of excellence. What is that thing that is keeping you from operating in your 100% authentic self? Right? That's the reason why you're watching this video, because you're like, there's something that's preventing me from being my authentic self in the classroom. What is it? What is it that the administrators or the evaluators are mandating or saying that you have to do? And you're like, that's just not me. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to me. Right? This happened to me a couple of years ago when I was in the classroom, and I'm going to let you know what I did about it. I do also want to remind you though that I always have freebies linked in the bio, so go ahead, look down there and check it out. I have this huge teacher freebie that's access to my digital drive that has 8-9 files in it for you that you might like, from classroom management tips to how to even decide when to quit, when to stick. Linked in the description below. Go ahead and check that out. But here's my example, right? I'm a former Teach for America. Shout out to anybody else that Teach for America. Comment down below if you're there too. I am, what state was I? Oh, Alabama Corps, 2014. I was in Huntsville, Alabama. And one of the ways that we were trained, it still gets me to this day. One of the things that we were trained to do was uptalk. And what uptalk is speaking in such a way that at the end of every phrase or sentence, it ends on a high note. It ends going up. And they taught us that if you speak like this, it would increase student engagement. And that was just not me. Like, it just was, oh my goodness, y'all. It wasn't me. But that's what they would evaluate when they came in to check us. They would come in and they would check if I had my nice tall posture. They would listen to my teacher voice, see if it was boisterous enough, and they would check to see if I was speaking in uptalk. And that just was not me. It was not. I recognized that in my zone of excellence, one of my gifts is being able to communicate, being able to captivate an audience, right? Being able to speak and storytell. And it did not incorporate uptalk in my speak. It just wasn't me. It wasn't my authenticity. So let me tell you, this isn't what I did. I will give you an example of something that I did using this system, but this is what I should have done. Here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so steps that I should have done to answer the question that this video is addressing. What do you do when your administrators or your evaluators are preventing you from operating as your 100% true authentic self, and you know it can lead to a greater student impact? The first thing that you have to do is understand the real reason why they want things done that way. So let's stick with the uptalk example. The real reason why they wanted that done is not just because they liked how it sounded. Because to them, whatever research they did, maybe it was scientifically based research, or maybe it was just somebody saw effectiveness while they were using it, and they just mandated that everybody else do it as well. They said that when you speak this way, it'll increase student engagement. So watch this. They didn't mandate that we spoke like this because it was, again, it sounded good. It's because they thought it would lead to increased student engagement. The real reason why they wanted to push uptalk and why they evaluated if we were using uptalk is because they wanted to increase student engagement. Understand whatever that real reason is as to why they're pushing their system on you, or why they're pushing whatever it is on you that they want to happen. Okay? Once you understand that, then since it's a mandate, you can't just be like, well, I'm doing my own thing, right? Since it's a mandate, here's what you do. Step 2 is to focus on impacting the areas that you don't need permission for. When I was teaching in the classroom using Uptalk, I since it was the standard for everybody, that is this tool. Like when I was leading whole class instruction, I had to use Uptalk because that was the evaluated tool. It was on there. If not, I would get dinged. I would be marked like I wasn't doing it. So one of the ways that you can get around that is by implementing it in an area where you don't need permission. Maybe that's a club or an after-school activity, or maybe it's even like in a small group or a different setting in your classroom, just not the whole class instruction where you'll be evaluated. So maybe during my small group instruction, I'm not speaking like that. I'm going to use my natural gifts to use my engagement strategies, my natural gifts to engage students. And once you implement it in that area, then track the data that shows the sustained efficacy of your methods over a period of time. So this is what it looks like. Not just saying, well, when I use my natural voice, students pay more attention. That's unsubstantiated, right? That's unsubstantiated. Prove it. Where's the data? Quantify it. Here's what you say. When I'm using whole group instruction, I use Uptalk. That's what you asked me to do. And I use it. We notice that consistently we have 16 to 17 out of 24 students actively engaged. When I'm pulling my small groups, I speak using my natural cadence. I speak using my natural storytelling ability, my natural ways of captivating students, and I see that I have 5 out of 5 students actively engaged. I have 7 out of 7 students actively engaged. I have 100% of students actively engaged when I am using my own communicative devices. When you can present that, and not saying that it happened one time, over this quarter, when I'm doing small group instruction and using my natural cadence, I consistently have 96% student engagement. When I'm using Uptalk, I have 68% student engagement as a class. Track the data, quantify it, and make sure it's over a sustained period of time. And then once you track that data and you have it, you can then present it to those administrators or present it to those evaluators. And what you can do is you then ask to pilot some changes on a larger scale. So take that data that I just said, I'm not going to repeat all of it, but you take it to them and you say, yep, when we use Uptalk, you come in, you evaluate me, you see that we're about 68, 70% actively engaged. When I was using my natural cadence in my small groups, I'm at 100%. I'm asking, can I use my natural cadence for whole group instruction? Because I believe that using the same strategies and tactics that I use in small group, if I use that same strategy, that I'll have an increased engagement for the whole entire class. Because you have data to support it now. So now you're asking for you to pilot it. Say, let me try it out for the next quarter, track the data, and let's see how it goes from there. Asking to pilot it on a larger scale. So now maybe it's the whole class, right? Maybe you want to just do it with the honors section, right? Maybe you have the pull where you can do it across the whole entire grade level. Whatever it is, you're asking, I tried it out in the small subset quarter 1. This is the data that I saw. I believe that I can replicate this data on a larger scale over this period of time. Then after you present that to them, honestly, in most cases, they're gonna say, okay, give it a shot. You got 2 months. Okay, give it a shot. You got a quarter, right? In most cases, they will go ahead and allow you to pilot it over that period of time that you requested. I'm gonna talk about what happens if they say no, but in most cases, they say yes, so let's stick with that. And then once you have that license, once you have that little green light, once you have that little breathing room, then do so well that they can't ignore you. I mean, like, kill it. Like, you be in your authenticity and do the things that you know you were called to do. Make the difference you know that you were called to make, doing things in your way, and track the data that says, yeah, when I did it in small group, I saw 100% engagement. Now you give me license to do it with my whole entire class, I'm consistently at 97% engagement. That's a 30% increase. Come on, like, really, really, really do so well that they can't ignore you. And oftentimes what's gonna happen, and what I've seen happen, and again, I'm gonna give you an example of what I actually did. What I've seen happen in situations like this is now they see, well, you had a 30% increase. Like, can you do that with all classes in 8th grade? Not just your honors class. Can you do that with all students? Or can you replicate that Can you teach that in a staff meeting so that everybody on 8th grade can do this? Right? Is there some way that you can package that and teach that skill so that everybody in the middle school can do? You see what I'm saying? Like you're gonna come to a point where you are seeing, or when you see so much efficacy, they can't ignore it. And actually what they're gonna want to do is replicate it. That's how they came up with Uptalk in the first place. Somebody did it, saw success with it, and then they mandated that everybody does it. I'm not saying that your goal is to get everybody to be like you. I'm saying your goal is to show that me living in my 100% true authenticity, I can have the desired results that you're requesting. You want to increase student engagement? I know how to increase student engagement. Watch this. And do so well that they can't ignore you. Right? So let me give you the example. I told you I was going to give you an example of what actually happened. I did not do that with the Uptalk. I should have. Honestly, don't fault me. What I did was I just went rogue and I just did not do it. I just couldn't. I did not do it. I'm not advising that you do that. This strategy works a whole lot better. Follow the steps because it's worked for me before. Let me show you the exact steps that I did, right? My second year teaching, I started coaching track. And when I was coaching track, one of the things in the district, I was in Huntsville, Alabama. One of the rules in the school was that students cannot participate in athletic events or athletic teams if they had failing grades and if they were suspended. So we had some amazing athletes, but then we had a lot of athletes that would end up with failing grades or getting suspended. Got to the end of the season and we were in the championship, and as we were preparing for the championship, we had some ineligible players because of grades, because of suspensions. We ended up not winning the championship that year. We had the talent to win. We didn't win the championship in 2016. We didn't. But I remember after that, I said, okay, this isn't gonna happen again. How can I ensure that we're at full strength come championship time? Going into the next year, what I did was I created a document that each student had to get filled out by their teacher. It was very short, very quick. It assessed 3 things. Every week, I needed an update on their grades, on their behavior, and on their mindset. That way, every single week I can check in on their grades, and I noticed if somebody's grades were slipping, I said, okay, instead of coming to practice today, you're going to study hall, you're going to tutoring. I noticed if somebody's behavior was acting up, that's okay, now I can hold you accountable. In practice, I'll give them some extra work, or I'll talk to their parents and say, listen, he's not gonna be able to run if he continues getting in trouble in class, and I can really hold them accountable for their behavior. And mindset, because I always love checking in on mindset. I wanna make sure that we have the mindset of a champion. They're in practice, their meets, whatever it is. At the end of that year, we were at full strength when it came to championship time. And we won the city championship. 2017, McMahon Junior High School, we won the city championship in track and field. And I really accredit it to making sure that my team was at full strength because we were strong academically, strong behaviorally, and we had strong mindsets. I checked on it every single week. I then took that form with me when I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, I just started doing it. I just did it with my track team. Other coaches started seeing it and they implemented it in that school. They implemented it to all sports because they saw the efficacy. When I came and I coached in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we won the city championship, right? They said, what is it that you're doing differently? They see it. And they said, we're gonna do this for all sports in this building. Fast forward to 2023, y'all. This year is 2023. Literally, this happened a couple of weeks ago. This year I didn't coach track. I coached track football. I coached flag football. And as I was getting ready to coach, the athletic director for the district put a stack of papers in my hand and he said, this is the way that we use to track student grades, behavior, and mindset throughout the season to make sure they're eligible to play. Y'all, it was the same exact form that I created in 2016 in Alabama. Not similar. It was the same form, same font. I know it's my font. I'm a comfortada kind of guy. Like, it was the same form, same exact font. And I asked him, I was like, where'd you guys get this from? He's the athletic director for the entire district. He said that a couple of years ago, a school implemented it, saw great effectiveness with it. We're now using it to track student eligibility for the entire district. The school that he was referring to was the school that I was working at in Charlotte, North Carolina. Why am I saying this? It was the same process that I just described to you. I noticed what the issue was, and then I started in an area where I did not need permission. I started with my track team. Once I used it in an area where I did not need permission, I saw the effectiveness, I tracked the data, I stuck with it, and I did so well that they could not ignore it. It then grew from me just using with the track team to them wanting to use it to every sport in the school. It then grew from every sport in the school to both schools in the district. Listen, y'all, what I'm saying is start in an area in which you don't need permission. See effectiveness, make sure there's efficacy, track the data, do so well that they can't ignore you, and that's going to continue to grow from there. But what happens when they say no? What happens when they say no? Can I be real? If you do all of this and they still say, nah, I want you to do things our way, it is possible that at this point it's time to consider if this is really for you anymore. Not this profession, but like maybe this building, maybe this team, maybe these people. Is this really for me anymore? If I'm working with administrators, coaches, evaluators who won't see things from my perspective, won't think outside the box, like won't be innovative in their thinking and allow me to try something that's gonna be better for students, even though I've seen the efficacy and I'm proving to them it's gonna be effective, if they're still just stubborn and stuck in their ways, it may be time to see if something else is for you, or if it's for you to slide into an administrative role or a coaching role where you can help make some of these decisions and allow teachers to explore and expand and really do what's best for students. But that is something that is not an easy decision, I know. So I do have a free resource that can help you out decide whether to quit, whether to stick, whether to change schools. One of the questions asked is, are you being prevented from operating in your zone of excellence? And if you are, that's a good indicator that it's time to start looking for something else. That's not the only evaluator though. There's always gonna be things that bother you no matter where you are. Always gonna be things that bother you. So go ahead, get the resource, use the checklist, answer the questions to see when to quit, when to stick. I got you, don't worry about it. In the next video, we are going to talk about some ways to be a terrible teacher. Yeah, I know. Subscribe so that you don't miss it when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.